All right, I'm on a different phone now. So we're talking about the autumn slot. This is from the first generation, the first collaboration between Kathy at Hands On Designs and Priscilla and Chelsea. And this is the fall, and I really like it. I'm stitching on 40 count black, which is insane, but it's okay. And like my problem with all the white fabric showing up on the under the darker threads on the heart lives where it loves. Well, here the black the black fabric is most certainly showing up behind the white, but that just makes sense with the chalk look, because chalk isn't like an opaque wherever that was going. So that's my first one in the autumn slot. The one that's getting most of my attention right now is this one by the Prairie Schooler. And the reason I'm focusing on it is because, of course, I have this lovely dream that they're going to release the Christmas companion to this soon. And I already have the newly released or the re-released spring version of this. So I want to get it done. And I put it on I think I'm going better first. I got bogged down, I think, with these windows and those leaves. I don't know why. It's not hard. It's Prairie Schooler. It's not hard. I don't know. I just got bogged down and I just couldn't progress. And I did stitch this roof the wrong color, and I said, it's okay, roofs aren't all the same color, it'll be fine. And so I went ahead and finished, and then I thought, no, I can't do this. I can't do this, because then I'll have to stitch it the wrong color on the spring one and the Christmas one. And then I thought, well, no, because they'll never be all together. And then I thought, well, what if they are? What if I decide to hang them, What if one of my descendants, what if whoever buys it at the Goodwill decides to do that? I can't. All right, technically there's more than even two things in the autumn slot. If we're being honest, if we're being completely honest, there's this. I have the Christmas leaflet like this. And I know that there was a spring house that matched this one, and I can't remember if I have it. If it's a big thing with extra designs, I don't have it. If it's one of the small mini cards, I might have it. I don't know. I set up databases for myself all the time, so I'll know what I have. It doesn't work. But here it is. I'm changing the colors a little bit just because whatever I'm grabbing. You wouldn't think it would take that much longer to finish it. I'd like to have that one because I bought like a little miniature candle screen at Hobby Lobby, and I'd like to put that on it. Oh, wait, there's more. This was from a magazine, so I only have my working copy. This was poor old Melinda Matilda Hornbuckle. She needs the bristles on her broom, and she needs the flowers finished, and the buttons on her shoes. What color is that? Grits. I keep looking for grits. Maybe I should put it back in there, though. All right. The next thing is taking me forever, too. Mary Cotton. Mary Cotton. This is weird. Okay, this is just weird. That tree is pink. Okay. Their faces are white. They're actually charted in the chart. It's a mistake. They're charted for green. Their faces are white like baby powder. Johnson & Johnson baby powder white. It's weird. They don't look alive. Here's my problem. It's the fabric. It's mallow, 40 count mallow, and it's just not, I'm not really picky about fabrics. I like vintage ivory, I like platinum, and I like, oh, what's that thing called? Light mocha. And so whatever I like at the moment, like there was a time when I stitched everything on lamb's wool for several years. Everything I stitched was on lamb's wool. And then I started getting Zweigart 32 count vintage ivory or antique ivory. I can't remember. And I was just like, this is the greatest color in the world. Everything I stitched was on that. And then when I started watching Flosstube and I saw Farm Girl Stitcher for the first time, and she said, I stitch everything on platinum. And I said, okay, I'm going to stitch everything on platinum. And then I started thinking, I want something a little darker. So I went to the light mocha. And like for Mania last year, I bought a big yard of light mocha and I cut it up. And everything I started for Mania, all 18 projects, were on the same thing. And I think that over time, that's okay, because once you eventually get them all framed and arranged the way you want them, or stuffed as pin cushions and arranged the way you want them, if you have years of work, you're going to have that variation in fabric. So everything's not going to look, once everything's arranged, you're not going to arrange it all by grouping of years. So I think, like I have one grouping over there, and there are things from various years when I was into various kinds of, and so there's a mixture on the wall. So I'm not fussy, except for the heart lives where it loves, which is just a obsessive disease, sickness kind of thing that I have with that. I'm not that picky about fabric choices, but mallow, I don't know if it's just not a pretty color or if it's just not pretty color with, these weird colors. But I'm whittling away on it. I'm not looking forward to doing the leaves. The leaves kind of drive me crazy. The leaves are driving me crazy, and I'm not looking forward to going back and doing these leaves because I don't actually like to count. I don't actually like to count. So I'm not looking forward to having to really, really count bigger than like 7 up here and do these leaves. Confessions of a Cross Stitcher. I don't like to count. I just don't like to count. So this dress about did me in, but I feel good that I finished it. All this brown grass around these little animals is going to do me in, but I'll be okay. But then I've got to come back up here and do all the leaves on this tree. But I like it. I can see it there on that wall. I can see it on the wall in the front room. That's motivating when there's a place for it. But those people are just so weird. But that's what I like about samplers. I like weird animals. I like weird people. But I don't know. Okay, now for a very old whip. And I am so glad that Lori at Mischievous Stitches is stitching this, because I hope that every time I see her stitching it, it's going to give me a new shot in the arm. This is Susan Rambo, and I had to have it because of that duck. So I stitched the duck, and then I was kind of over it, unfortunately. Let me make sure you see. This is Spring 2011. Oh, the best magazine ever. I'm pretty sure I'm stitching it on the fabric called for, because this is not something I would have normally picked. It's like an amber color. I do love it, but it's not one of the ones that I would have been obsessed and said, oh, everything can go on this. But I'm glad. This must have been when I had a local needle workshop. I think I changed my greens. I think I'm using 500 and 501. And that was not the DMC conversion. I didn't think about that really until I was looking at Lori's. I don't know what the DMC, I won't waste your time looking it up. But so my green is different than Lori's. I love those big fat flowers. I think the flowers are fun. They're not fiddly because they're big fat flowers. I'm not looking forward to backstitching all the information. Lori was saying that she wanted to put in her own information, her own family. There's plenty of letters. There's plenty of letters given in the chart. That's not going to be a problem. And I want to do that too, but there's a lot. There's this, there's one here, there's the middle one. There's that duck. He's so cute. He would be just a cute pincushion. He would be a cute pincushion. So would that. I'm working on all this green down here. That's going to be a cow. He's going to get some back stitched limbs. I mean, I like it. It's just, you know, there are little parts that I stall out on, and when I get to all that 1/1, and of course you're saying, Michelle, don't leave the 1/1 to last. Well, that's good advice. That's good advice, but okay, this is one that I put on my Stitch 9. This is one of the first 2 things that I ever hunted down on the internet. I saw it in the back of a Just Cross Stitch magazine in the advertisement section. I absolutely fell in love with that. I have a large collection of Cricut collection. Most of them I got from my mom. Some of them I've stitched. Some of them are not. Some of them are very dated. But I'm starting to be very nostalgic about the 70s. Decor wise, not geopolitical happenings or anything. But 1970s coloring, and I can see a time in the near future that I might feel that way about the 80s. Again, you know, a real nostalgia for those colors. Who knows? But this looks timeless to me. You see, there's kind of a pattern in. It's difficult to see because I don't know why, but if you look on my Instagram, if I've shown pictures of it up close, there's a little bit of a patterning. You know, that's obviously a checkerboard. That's kind of a checkerboard. There's a patterning in each flower, and then there's a patterning of the grass line. On all this is back stitch, these roots, but that's not going to be like back stitch that I hate. I think that'll be easy. I really like this, and I'm glad I started it. See, you can kind of see the patterning on the daffodil leaves. Every other leaf will be filled in with a lighter yellow. I changed my yellows. I think it's like 677 and 676, and I went, instead of 677 and 676, I went from, I'm doing the darker 676 and then maybe 729. I wanted my yellows a little darker. This, filling in that, about made me lose my mind, just because on the chart, she's charted these 2 colors, a big dot and a little dot. And you sit there and you stare at the big dot and the little dot, and you go a little crazy. But I love the colors, the shading on the bulbs, and each bulb is just a little different, and the shading is just a little different, and that's pretty exciting. That one's pretty exciting. I'm not sick of that one at any little bit of that one. Now, the one that I was working on Thursday and Friday, and that I should be working on today, is also out of a, oh, I've got it written down, Sampler Girl. I have to put a Band-Aid on this finger when I stitch, because I, for some reason, constantly stab myself. In case you wanted to know. So, Sampler and Antique Needlework Quarterly, Summer 2010. And I was stalled on this for a while because the leaves were driving me crazy. They were just fiddly and they were driving me crazy. And then I was like, oh, stitching this pale alphabet, but you know, I'm into it now. And all I worked on for the past 2 days really was the green leaves. I think I've gotten over the green leaves. I didn't put this one on my Stitch 9, but I really would like to finish it this year. Okay. I think I have shown you everything. I haven't spilled anything more. I wanted to show you 2 crochet blankets. Just a second. Oh, no, we're not done. We're not done. I got haul. Well, let me show you the crochet blankets first. I wonder where this 3012 came from. It'll be fun to... Oh, I know where it came from. It came from Johnstone. I joined Attic 24 Lucy's Crochet Along for the Sweet Pea Cow. And there are different ways you can do this. You can do the Posy. I'm on Team Posy, hashtag Team Posy. And I'm following her. She posts every Friday. Basically, Team Posy is 4 colors and then one of the 3 greens. So this is I think I've finished part 4 and maybe started part 5. So this is mine. She also gives an option to do a color wash, which goes from the greens to the light pinks. And that's Team Color Wash. And then there are some people who are on Team Rogue. They're just doing the order that they want to. I love these colors. I love these colors. Absolutely love these colors. And I think that that looks kind of upside down. I think that the pattern is really pretty. But I am having to use, usually with Stylecraft DK, they recommend a G, which is a 4 millimeter. Of course, everybody's gauge is different. My gauge is different from week to week. I'm actually having to use a 3 because I don't like the look of this when it's very gappy and loose. And so I'm having to do this much tighter than I'm comfortable doing with a hook that I had to get the hang of the hook because my hook would hang on things. It would split the yarn and just pull part of the yarn because the yarn is not meant for a 3 millimeter hook. So I feel like I'm having to really pay close attention to keep it small and tight so that it doesn't look gappy. And I'm happy with the way mine looks now. It took me a long time. The first 2 weeks of the cowl, I was just mad. I was just like, I can't do this. I can't do this. It's just not for me. Obviously, it's just not for me. I can't do this. I could do the stitches, but I couldn't get it small enough and close enough. And then I quit overthinking it. There's a pattern here. I don't know if I do this pattern again because it requires so much concentration, not because the pattern is difficult at all. The pattern is not difficult at all. This, she says this could definitely be a beginner pattern. Absolutely a beginner pattern. It's just me trying to keep my stitches so small. And the funny thing is, my friend who's also doing this, she had to go up because she stitches smaller, closer. I don't want to say tight. I don't want to say she stitches things that are tight, but she just makes smaller, closer stitches. So she had to really go up to a bigger hook. And on the Attic 24 Moorland, MOORLAND and More Facebook page, a lot of people had to go up to like 5.5 hooks to be loose enough. So I think that's funny how different everybody's gauge is. But anyways, I finally got it. Then this one is one I started the day before that one came out. The day before that pattern came out, I started 2, knowing that the next day I was going to start that because, it's just the way that just made sense to me. These 7 colors, I'm going to make a ripple with just these 7 colors. It's Stylecraft Special DK. And these colors come from a Pinterest crochet blanket. I've looked all over Pinterest. There's several pictures of it on Pinterest, but none of them go to a blog they just are a picture, and then somebody's listed these colors. Parma violet, pale rose, parchment, duck egg, pale peach, grape, and cream. And so I'm just going to do sections of these 7 colors, but mix these colors up in each section. Not for a baby, just for me. For me. All right, now, I do have a lot of haul. So if you don't want to see this, you can say goodbye now. If you want to see it, but you want to see it on a different day because you're tired of my voice in your ears, I understand. Stick around. I could possibly spill this hot chocolate all over everything. Because here's my haul. I mean, I save people for a different day because, you know, I suddenly have to run out the door with the kids or something. And so I'll hit pause and come back and watch the rest of it later. That doesn't bother me at all. I'm always thirsty. I get very thirsty. Okay. I went on Amazon and found this. And I think that I had seen it before, but I didn't know exactly what it was. And it is 2 things. One is a catalog of these samplers that are in this collection here at this museum and information about them. And there's some very close-up pictures so you can really see the stitches. And it's just really interesting to sit down and read. But that didn't make me want to buy it. I don't know. That just wasn't what I want. Sometimes I want to see that. Sometimes I don't. But then I saw somebody stitch this little tiny thing right there. Just that little teeny tiny scrap. And I loved it. So then I realized that this book has patterns, small little snippets based on small motifs from some of the samplers in it. And so it has several. What I want to show you is what I desperately want to do. Let's see if I can do it without showing you. This is a little box that says from Hobby Lobby, and you paint it green, which I would not do. I think it should be turquoise. And you put fabric in the bottom, and then it gives you the pattern for this little house and the pattern for this. I fell in love with this little scrap too. Just that little, it's got endive green and maybe mountain mist or Lexington green. And I would stitch the whole background too because I want it to look just like that. And put it in this box, and I've got some old thimbles. I just absolutely fell in love with this. I'd like to do a darker blue-green. I'm not crazy about that light one. But I'm just absolutely in love with making that. I think I got this on Amazon for $16. And it's well worth that. It's a pretty thick book. There's no large charts. There's 1 or 2 that are that size. And then there's a couple of smaller ones. But, so I was so greedy. I was like, oh, I want all these charts. But, you know, it is still worth it. There's a lot of really, really good pictures and a lot of really interesting information in there. So that's one that I missed the first time around. Then I became completely and totally obsessed with French and Dutch red letter schoolgirl marking samplers. And there's a picture on Pinterest, and I've had it on my board for years, and I look at it and I drool over it. But one night I was just like, oh, I have to have that wall. I have to have a wall in my house. There are no big walls in this house. They all have big windows in them. But I need a wall in my house filled with these red schoolgirl samplers. And Michelle Farm Girl Stitcher, she decided she needed to too. So then we're talking, and I'm showing her all the stuff I found, and she's buying it up. And so then I have to start buying it up because she's buying it all up, and there's not going to be any left. Well, probably not, but something like that. Anyways, I found this book. When I got it, it was $10 on Amazon. And this book has 11 pictures, and 11 charts of the pictured. So it's not, you know, you get frustrated. You see these beautiful samplers in this book, but those aren't the ones that are charted. No, they're all 11 are charted. And I was like, oh, I'm going to get to read. I mean, I know basically that laundry, linens, household linens were marked with the initials of the person they belong to. And also so that you could do a rotation, so that you're wearing out all the linens evenly and not just wearing out one or two. I thought, oh, I'll be able to read all about it. I don't read French. I forgot that. I don't know French. So, because the reason that I thought I would be able to read it is because I have been following a lot of French blogs that do this sort of thing, because they can go to their flea market. I can go to my flea market and I can find chickens and ducks, which is fun. And I can find old clothes from the 70s, and I can find Tupperware lids. And, well, apparently in France, you just go to the flea market and you find samplers everywhere. Like this. Aren't they pretty? So anyways, I was following all these blogs, but I have told Google that whenever I come to a French or Dutch blog, I want it to translate. So I just go to all these French blogs and I can read them. So I thought, well, obviously, I'll be able to read this French book. There's no Google Translate in a book. I don't know which one I want to start first. I really like this one, though. I just like that border for some reason. I don't know why. So when I got it, my copy was $10 on Amazon. So that's a really fun one. And if you read French, you'll be able to read the text. Then I wasn't going to buy it yet. I was waiting. Oh, no, oh, yeah. But then there were only 3 copies, and Michelle bought one. So then there were only 2 copies. This was $25 for 5 charts. That's pretty good. I'm not gonna give you my Appalachian French. Not gonna do it. I think Michelle and we both really like this one, and I really like this. I like them all. I really like them all. I mean, $5 a chart, and I like them all. I really like this one. The thing that I like about these, I like their names, as well as, I think their name is just part of the overall look. This is a booklet. You know, this is a booklet. This is nice. I'll show you that. So $25. If you really like red alphabet samplers and you want to know where to start collecting charts, so this is like $5 a chart. That's a very good value. So then I went on Etsy and I was just looking up charts, and I have never seen this before. It came out in 2017, so it's not that old. But this is Kathy Barrick. I didn't know she did a little selection of French samplers. Now, these I'd like to frame on the wall. These I would like to just put in a basket as little scraps, and just have a pile of them. Because when you see the pictures from the French flea markets, they're like all piled up in a basket because, you know, there's just so many of them. Now this is the one that I started, and I finished the stitching. I used 498, DMC 498, which is my favorite red. There's no finishing instructions. There's no instructions for this edging here. And this is a blanket stitch. It says it's a blanket stitch, but there's no, so I emailed Kathy Barrick and I asked her, I said, do I cut the fabric first? Do I stitch first? And she said that she would cut the fabric first and then do the blanket stitch. But I don't know how to start the blanket stitch. I don't know if you start with a knot. So if somebody will tell me, I mean, I understand that I would, you know, count how many spaces I want, and then I, you know, pull the thread and trim it. But then I don't know how to start the blanket stitch. So if somebody will tell me, do I start with a knot? Because it would be several spaces away from my stitching. But I don't know why this gets my heart. Part of it is because, like the Bristol Orphanage samplers, you know, from England, those little bitty girls doing this because they're, you know, going to try to earn a living maybe one day by their embroidery skills, or even a not poor woman, you know, more well-off woman would do it just because that's her duty in her household, is to keep track of her linens and be able to mark her linens. And I just love red and white. I did start one, and I wish I could tell you where to get the chart. This chart used to be free on the needle print blog. And this is what the chart was called. It was free on the needle print blog. It's not on the blog anymore, even though the needle print blog is still up. So I don't know if somebody else owns needleprint now. Stitchy Box, is it needleprint? I don't know if you could contact them and ask for it. Again, I'm doing this on $4.98. This is a platinum fabric. This is cream. My lighting has just gone. So I want a good mix of pale colored fabrics and a good mix of reds. I bought Waratah red from Dinky Dyes as a silk, but I just think it is so sweet. I just love these red and white samplers. So then I only bought one more red and white sampler. I bought it from the Queen Bee Handmade, like something you make by hand, not the other kind. I just printed out a black and white copy of it. But I got this on Etsy. I think it was $5 and something. It was a PDF download. And I think it's sweet too. And I don't know if that one would be one that would get framed, or it would be, you know, in a basket. Oops. Oh, that's fine. It can go in there. All right. So I've also gotten the first two zines from Kitten Stitcher. And, I didn't print a picture of the chart. I really want to start the red and green. I don't have a picture of it. I just printed this out. The Celia Smith 1841 sampler. It was in the second one, the one that is most recent. I don't have a copy of the picture. But it is a red and green sampler. And it has the verse about she's brought to the king and raiment of needlework. I really want to start that one. I bought this. So these are, the rest of these are Christmas. And then that 25% sale. I'd never seen this before. Tree of Life samplings. Penny Harvest. Sorry. I've never opened it, apparently. Never. Isn't that pretty? I just love that. I really, really like that. Oops, let me put it back in its bag. Sorry for the noise. This one, I can't remember if this was Christmas or not. I'm sure you've seen this, Miss Bingley's Library. Can't wait to see what Paulette puts out for Market. I get so excited about Market because my birthday is at the end of March, so I can ask for 1, 2, 3 gift certificates. I bought this. I just love those. And see, I want a wall of just French red and white samplers, but I could mix that into a basket. Have a couple of pin cushions like this, and then just have the little red and white ones kind of draped. I see so many beautiful things in my mind. I don't think I bought this anytime soon. This was June wordplay. This one is a download I downloaded years ago. You can still download it on Heartstring Samplers Etsy. This is the Let Us Be Truly Thankful. It's May, but you could use that for May and June. And then put up the patriotic one. This is a piece of linen I bought. Water green. I just thought it was so pretty. It's 40 count. I've got some ideas of what I could do with it. This I got on eBay. I'm always looking for the DAR samplers and the porcupine. Oh, yeah, that's not the chart. The porcupine collection samplers and the DAR museum. Some of them I really like. I am desperate to have, I think it's Eliza Herbert. Oh, I would really like to have that one. I have no intention of filling in half of the background, just so you know. I really like this though, and that was at a good price. They had several of those. Watching Rags to Stitches, I had to order this. Let me open it up and show you. This is a long sampler. It's not a reproduction. It's, you know, meant to be a... I did see someone, maybe on Sampler Heart. That's one of my favorite Facebook groups. They did the swan in 310. I don't have a problem with white swans. I don't have a problem with black swans. But I think that since that's the only white element on this, that it really kind of sticks out. I think that I would do it in 310. I think I would do it in black. I think it would just, well, I saw it done in black and I really liked it. I ordered this recently because everybody seemed to be stitching this. That's beautiful. I mean, I like this. I want this. I want to do this. But, oh, that really, really appeals to me. If you go to the Silver Needle website and you're looking at the Blackbird Designs charts, there is a picture. If you look up Blackbird Designs Abecedarian series, there's a picture that'll come up either on Google or on the Silver Needle. And it's all 12 of them done together. And it looks so fantastic. It's just the most fantastic grouping. And I love it. And then I started looking at the individual ones and I was just like, oh, well, I don't know that I really want to do that one. Well, I don't know if I really wanted to do that one. So I thought, well, what if I did basically that, but added some different ones in from different designers? I've got so many plans for so many walls. It's crazy. So I went ahead and got a few of them that I really liked. I love this. I have been so tempted to start this ever since I got it maybe 3 weeks ago. I love this. And that green is putty, and I found my putty. I love this. So this is Loose Feathers. These are still available. I got it on 1, 2, 3 Stitch, Abecedarian series. This one, I think this is funny. Garden borders, ha ha ha, because they're like cross stitch borders, and then you have a garden. I think that's funny. That just amuses me to no end every time I see it. Every time I see it. Beautiful. Okay. Now this one I love. I mean, I love this, but I don't love it with these two. I don't love it with them. I don't think. I don't know that. But so, you know what would look fantastic with the two of these from a different designer? Again, Rags to Riches got me in on this. Brenda Gervais. God finds a low branch for the bird that cannot fly. I think that would look fantastic on a wall with these. So I want that look of the Abecedarian series, but I want to mix in some different designers just because. And I think that would look great. And I really like it. I really, really like it. Okay. A long time ago, like back in the fall. No. Flannel Jammy's farm. She might have been at her local needle workshop doing a podcast one day. And behind her was this sampler, Be Merry. And I looked at it, and I knew it was You, I, and Friends, or Chessie and Me. I don't know why I get them confused. They're very distinctive. I don't know why. But, so I hunted it down, and I got it from somewhere. I don't even know where I got it. Oh, I got it from Stitching Bits and Bobs. So it took forever. So I got Be Merry, because I just absolutely love that. And while I was there, I did go ahead and get Liberty Days. I'm sorry you can't see this well. And Old Rose and Chamomile. So those, I got those a long time ago. Probably in the fall. No, not in the fall. That wouldn't have made any sense. All right, I'm sorry if you don't like haul. I'm sorry if you're tired of the sound of my voice. It's been a long time since I've done a video, and there was Christmas, and I got this. This is a $29 Blackbird design book, but I got it 25% off at the Silver Needle. It was either New Year's Eve or New Year's Day sale. So it has this nice one right here. It has this Halloween one right here, which is pretty with that big funny moon. Then it has the reproductive samplers of Two Sisters. And I've already made my mania plans. And one of these, this is the one that's in my mania plan. If you don't, I've heard some people say that they like to be surprised when they buy a book because, you know, Blackbird Design doesn't include everything that's on the book on the cover. And if you'd like to be surprised, look away for a few minutes. This, Peace and Plenty, I really, really like this, but I don't think I would put Christmas blessings. I might put a blessing on this house or blessings to thee or something like that. But I would want this up all year. I mean, baskets of flowers. Hello. That's fantastic. That's just fantastic. I love that. And I want Peace and Plenty all year round. So I've already showed you what was on the cover. Seems like I missed something. But a $29 book, but it's packed. I mean, how many samplers was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 big ones. I mean, that's pretty good value, you know. Okay. So, when y'all were all doing, I'm always behind. When y'all were all doing the Summer Schoolhouse series, I said, well, I'm not doing that because I'm not doing 1/1. I don't do 1/1 unless it's a punishment, you know. 1/1 is for Lent, when you're like punishing yourself or something for sins. I mean, 1/1, but I loved it. Yeah, I loved it. I held myself aloof, but I loved it secretly. I think it would look good with, these. So I really want to do that. That's really what I want to do. I just want to take lots of patterns and I just want to tack them up on the wall and make combinations. So when I was doing the Silver Needle 25% off, I went ahead and got March, wordplay. My birthday's in March. I always love March things. And I got August. So I don't have April, but I did finish May. I got Dear Daughter. And then I got Chillin'. I've wanted this for a really, really long time. I've wanted it ever since Priscilla and Chelsea's, one of their first podcasts when Priscilla was showing this. I don't do a lot of witchy Halloween stuff, and I don't do a lot of ghosty Halloween stuff. I love skeletons. I don't know why. That doesn't make any sense, really. I mean, I don't know. I just really like skeletons because we're skeletons. We have skeletons. Last year I had that MRI on my back. Was that last year or was that 2 years ago? I don't even know. And I probably told you this at the time, but before I had an MRI, I had to have an x-ray of my head. Did I tell you this? I don't know if I told you this or not. Because when I was in the 10th grade, I decided that I wanted a nose earring. Now, I have way too much sinus problems and postnasal drip. I have too much mucus to ever have any kind of nose ring. And I don't even really desire one now, but I was in 10th grade and I thought it would make my mother flip out. So I grew up in Athens, near Athens, and I went to Junkman's Brothers. It was so confusing. There was like a store called Junkman's Brother in Atlanta. So in Athens, it was Junkman's Brother's sister or something. Anyway, when I got this magnetic earring, and you stuck the magnet up this way, and I hope this is really what YouTube chooses as my cover. But anyways, so of course I wore it home, to show my mother, and I think my mother knew me that I wasn't actually going to do it. So she was just like, whatever. So I wore it to school. Well, when I start laughing, still to this day, I snort. So I started laughing at something in school and, was snorting and laughing the way I do. And I don't know what happened to the magnet. I had to tell the people at the MRI this story. So last year I was 45. If it didn't happen last year, it was the year before when I was 44. I had to tell them that when I was in 10th grade, I had a fake magnetic nose ring, and I laughed so hard, I might have snorted it up into my head, and I never noticed it coming out. That was embarrassing. So they did a x-ray to make sure I didn't have the magnetic back to my stupid fake nose ring up in my head. And I didn't. So I don't know what happened to that thing. But I just remember looking, I said, "Can I have that picture?" She was like, "No." I was like, "Please, that's my skull. That's me. I want that." She's like, "Okay, if you're very good during your MRI, I'll make you a copy and put it on a CD for you." And I don't know, I was completely and totally fascinated. Once I got over the embarrassment of having to explain why I had to have the x-ray, I was just fascinated by my skull. And I was going to make it my profile picture on Facebook, but then I thought, well, what if like some brain scientist is one of my friends and they find something wrong with me? And well, anyways, I don't know. I like skeletons. And I like that. So anyways, I need to probably just cut that out because that was stupid. True, but stupid. I got this Threadworks Primitive Wandering Heart. Bind my wandering heart to thee. I really like it. I like the colors. I like the, what it says. I like everything about it except this big space. And so I'm wondering, could you scooch the heart over and put a third crown here? I don't know. I just sucked my teeth. I never suck my teeth. I can't stand it when people suck their teeth. I don't know why I did that. Because I'm losing it. Okay, so of course I got Merrily Merrily. We welcome spring. Of course I love it. Of course I want to start it immediately. That's what I was hunting my putty floss for. But I have to get some of my big stuff out of the way. I got this. I love it. Everything about it. Love it, love it, love it. Ooh. This was my plan to start in February because of our anniversary. And I got some of the threads. I like the whole series. I do. I like the whole series. I love birds. I love flowers. I like nice words like love. But realistically, I probably won't ever do the whole series. And so, of all I've seen so far, I had to just pick my favorite because realistically, I mean, I'm never going to get to the whole series. I'm going to stitch everything I have, though, in this pile. Okay, this one's a big one. Because Nicole's needlework, everything she stitches I want. So what I've been doing is I bought 3 needlework silks on 2 different occasions. I think I'm going to use my own red. I have a lot of trouble picking greens and browns. A lot of times, especially in reproduction samplers, I just can't get the greens and browns right. Even in this, the DMC greens that I started using on that 32 count, they're just not right. I may have to use silks for those. Greens and browns, I just have trouble. So I want to make sure I get this right. I can find the yellow, I can find a peach, I can find, that could be Lexington green or Mountain Mist or something like that. I've got a pretty red silk, but I want to make sure I get the greens and browns right. All right, and just one more. I bought this when I bought the Kathy Barrick small red samplers. They were both on the, what's it called when you're not going to have them anymore, clearance. And I think that I want to say there is no place like my parents' house, and then put the year that they got married. And my mom, she's always saying that she wants to take down the wallpaper, in the dining room, because it's like 1993, these colors wallpaper with big flowers, and the like the blinds on the window are mauve, and I mean, like, this is the color of her wallpaper, and I love it. Whenever my sister tries to make her take down wallpaper borders or wallpaper in the house, I pitch a fit. I pitch an absolute fit because I like them. And I have taken up entirely too much of your time today, and I hope you have spread this out over several days, and I hope you found something worthwhile, and I hope that the sound of my voice did not drive you crazy, and I hope to come back and talk to you again soon, and enjoy following you on Instagram and watching you on your Flosstubes. I did want to say that I started watching, and I meant to write down the name, Stitching Ellis. It's a mother and a daughter, and the daughter's name is Ellis. I can't remember the mother's name right now. Stitching Ellis. I'll try to link it when I get these uploaded. But that was a new one. They've got 2 podcasts out. But I try to go in and type in, search for Flosstube number 1, and try to find new people. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye.